So Peter, how did Christian faith become a part of your life?
I grew up in a Christian family. My parents were very involved in the local church. They were also involved very much in youth ministry, children's ministry. And from my earliest memories, world mission was part of their presentations, the things that happened in the youth and children's stuff that I was taken along to. And I grew up in a church where the pastor of the church was very passionate about the witness of the gospel across the street, across our city, and across the world. And he and subsequent pastors in the church kept that mission engagement going. So when I came to faith, I came to know the Lord Jesus when I was 9. My dad, well, I guess through my childhood, my dad especially would have read the Bible with me every night. And one night he read the Bible, and what he'd read, I can't remember what he read, Karl, but what he read stuck in my head, and I realized that I myself needed to say yes to Jesus in my life. So I got up out of bed, went to look for my dad, said, "Would you pray with me? I want to follow the Lord Jesus too." So he prayed with me. And through my teenage years, through the great work of folk in church and family, discipleship to Jesus went hand in hand with a worldwide vision, or a sense that this message of the gospel is not just for me sitting in Northern Ireland. This message is for all nations. This is the message of the Bible. Mission is not something for a few people on the margins of a congregation who have a special interest. This is something core to what it means to follow Jesus. So I became involved in short-term mission trips, and God just kept putting people into my life and putting seeds into my heart that kept this conviction and this call through my late teens, early 20s into world mission, into something much more substantial. So we applied to join OMF in 1998.
So when so you were
yes,
married?
I'm starting to talk about we, aren't I? So that's my wife, Christine, yes.
So you follow this call and you end up in Malaysia. What's that like?
Yes, it was a wonderful experience. We went there with the specific remit to teach theology, to teach mission studies, and to be seconded to, first of all, to a denomination in East Malaysia, and to work under that denomination, work in their college. Before that, we did some language study, and I went to university in Penang, did some language study, and then went over to Sarawak. And I suppose I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I was told this is a church, the largest indigenous church in Malaysia, the Sidang Injil Borneo, the Evangelical Church of Borneo, that it had significant times of revival in its past, that OMF had had links with that denomination, and also links with an organization called the Borneo Evangelical Mission that had come into OMF in the early 1970s. So I knew something about the context, but I wasn't quite sure exactly what it would mean. But we spent a couple of years in Sarawak and then went to West Malaysia. But those years in Sarawak were really very special for us as a family.
You know, Sarawak is a long way from Belfast in all sorts of ways. Do you remember first arriving?
Yes, it's very hot. I mean, we'd been in Asia previously. We'd been in Thailand, we'd been in Singapore. We came to Sarawak, and the culture, the languages, the church life was very different. I grew up in an Ulster Presbyterian church. I was coming into a denomination that was probably much more Pentecostal. And so church life was very different. But the amazing thing, Karl, was that I had people in the classes and people in our little community there in the Bible college who were on fire for the Lord Jesus, and there were people there who had known significant encounters with the Lord.
Give us an example of somebody that you felt you were able to influence.
We would have folk, well, I had students in my class who were involved in discipleship among believers who'd come from Muslim backgrounds. So this was, we felt, a very strategic part of theological education in mission, to be able to bring resources and training and help and encouragement to people who were then taking that out around Southeast Asia and ministering to communities that were under a great deal of pressure, that lacked resources, that didn't have the freedom to come to a Bible college or a seminary. So that's a key part of mission still today. Another couple that I met, not through the seminary, but through our involvement in a local church. Christine and I began attending a local church on the outskirts of Kuala Lumpur. It was a church plant. It had been going about 3 years by the time we joined, and we just became involved as ordinary members, preaching, helping with the youth. We met a couple called Canon Serene. Ken, he became a Christian in 2004. He came from a Taoist background, a Buddhist background, but he had a lot of questions about life. He had a lot of questions that his worldview of Taoism and Buddhism weren't answering. And he found those answers as he engaged with the Bible and as he met with Christians and he wrestled through with things. And I remember him at one point reading C.S. Lewis' Mere Christianity. So he came to a living faith in the Lord Jesus. And he'd always had an interest in creation, in nature. And he is now, I mean, this has taken some years, but he and his wife are now very much involved in creation care, very much involved in their own employment, in sustainability. And they're doing amazing things, but they have found that the biblical worldview gives them a solid foundation to engage with the environmental issues, with creation care, and to do this under a gospel banner, if you like, under the lordship of Jesus. And so it's thrilling to see people, their lives are changed, they say yes to the gospel, the Bible shapes their life, their worldview, and sends them into areas of life and work that make a difference for the kingdom.
Jesus said to go to the ends of the earth, and certainly 150 years ago, the ends of the earth still had to be found. These days, Christian faith is around the globe, geographically. What does the ends of the earth, going to the ends of the earth, mean for you now?
The ends of the earth can mean the people who are across the street here today, who have come into this city from the ends of the earth. This is a very multicultural city, London, and there are diaspora communities and diaspora churches all over this city who are reaching out to a great multitude, great diversity of people. So the ends of the earth are actually right across the street. And I think we would want to be, as an organization, encouraging folk, not first of all to come and join OMF, but to be confident in the gospel of the Lord Jesus and to take it across the street and to your neighbor and to your colleague in the workplace. That is the ends of the earth. And when we start doing that, Karl, the Lord has a way of widening our vision so that it could be across the street today, it could be across the world in 6 months' time. And if we allow the Lord to do that work of broadening our vision through us doing the small things of sharing the Lord Jesus today with our colleague here, in 6 months' time, we may be in a place where He puts us in a very different culture, learning a different language, sharing the gospel and being His missional presence and a kingdom witness in cultures geographically far away.